Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Out There Hour.
The Out There Hour on Alternative Future Radio. The Out There Hour with Basil and Mark. www.alternativefutureradio.com.
Yay! Hello, Basil.
Hello, Mark.
Well, it's an auspicious occasion today.
Well, we've reeled in a big one.
We have Anthony J. Hilder on the show in just a little while.
Anthony J. Hilder.
Yes, you know him. To know him is to love him.
Researcher into the term, for want of a better word, New World Order.
And among other things.
Since the late 50s, early 60s.
Was it as early as that?
This guy was looking into the global elites when David Icke was still a footballer and Alex Jones hadn't even been born.
He must know a bit of something about something by now, then.
He sure does.
You would imagine he would.
He's a prolific filmmaker.
He's made loads of films. I'm looking at his website right now. There's just loads of them, although he's had a while to make them.
He's done Skull and Bones.
He's done stuff about the Oklahoma City bombing, which is another interesting topic. We should go for that one.
I see he's got something about Henry Kissinger there. Very interesting.
Area 51.
Area
Skull
51.
and Bones.
Skull and Bones. You know what Skull and Bones is?
Yeah, I do.
Does everybody else know what it is?
You tell him.
Skull and Bones. It's some kind of a weird college fraternity.
Yeah.
In America, and George Bush and John Kerry one time.
Is it Yale?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's Yale.
And they do these, the
usual ceremonies.
It's strange stuff. I've never understood it.
Yeah.
And they're doing some very strange ceremonies, that particular fraternity.
He's got some films here. The Panic Project. That looks like Kissinger and UFOs. Area 51. Reichstag 95, which I think is about the original World Trade Center bombing, looking at that. Or is that the Oklahoma bombing? I can't tell from the picture of it. Something there about the American Hitler versus Anthony Hilder. That looks interesting.
That looks really good.
Chinese answer to cancer.
Oh, yeah, well, we've kind of covered that.
Have we? Blimey.
Dr. Gerson.
Oh, yes.
They're in Europe.
Yeah,
he has a cure for cancer.
Yeah, and that's not even to mention the books. I think that's just the DVDs. I'm sure he's written a good few books as well.
Anthony J. Hilder, he's been researching the mysteries.
All sorts of things.
For a long time. And we're hoping to tie up today with something that's been on our minds.
Yes, something Gerard Williams alluded to last week.
Yeah, and just on the end of the hour there, when we spoke to the author of The Grey Wolf, Gerard Williams, and his research that leads him to believe that Hitler escaped to Argentina, along with many, many high-ranking Nazi officers, with enormous wealth.
Yeah.
Enormous wealth that they had stolen.
Yeah.
And it seems to be they may have bought into the corporate world.
Yeah, they moved into finance.
Finance and multinational...
And politics as well, to some degree.
And politics as well. Yeah. And this is something that Anthony J. Hilder has been talking about for quite a long time.
A very long time.
And his research leads him to believe that the formation of the European Union may actually be based on the Nazi ideals.
Yeah, something that I know Gerard Williams has touched on before on other interviews, but we didn't get round to that because we lost him that day.
Yeah, we're going to get Gerard back because we
should do.
Yeah, but so we're just tying up a few loose ends here on who really controls the world.
And what's going on.
And why is the world the way it is.
Yes. Shall we dial him?
Yeah. Let's hope they don't take us out for our research.
Well, if they do, they'll probably just wine us and dine us and then just not call us in the morning. Anyway, right, okay.
Is it okay to call him because he was just having his power drink and we just want to give him... Because we have to understand he's in New York?
He's in L.A.
He's in L.A.
It's just after 7 a.m. there for him, so he's kindly got up very early in the morning.
He's got up really...
What a guy.
He said he never... What did he say? He never gets up...
Before noon. Yeah, well, we're going to call him and we'll hopefully we'll see what he's got to say for himself.
Let's hope he's woken up.
Yeah.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you, Mr. Hilder.
I should explain what I'm wearing because it's always...
Please do, but keep it clean.
Well, yeah, it's because we're talking across the world, and I've got a sweater which was made in Syria. It's the type that Bill Cosby wore on his shows, with multicolored.
Oh, yes, we're familiar with it.
Wonderful, wonderful sweater from Syria. And I'm concerned about the war being conducted against Syria by the United States and Great Britain. Because it's not a war about Syrians. It's really a war about bringing a new world order. And ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, one world, one race, one ruler. And of course, the Zionazis are very much involved in that particular war.
Can you explain that term? Because people are going to say, what's a Zionazi? That sounds unusual.
Well, a Zionazi is essentially the same group or mindset that ruled Nazi Germany at one time.
Yeah.
The Zionazis are the same mindset of individuals who rule Israel. In the Bible, it talks about beware of those who call themselves Jews but are not. These are not Jews. These are anti-Semitic. They are against Semites. They are against Christians. They are against Muslims. They want to own the world. And they use certain groups of people, like I think there's a group over there in England called Britons, British people, that would be it, yes. They rule Britain by ruling the currency.
Yeah.
They control what happens. They control the commerce, and they control the creation of currency.
Yeah.
Whenever that is allowed, it always results in ruin.
So when you say Zionazi, are you taking the term, I'm assuming it's half Zionist and half Nazi, are you using the term Zionist not quite literally, but sort of more figuratively?
Well, it's both, really. We're talking about people who really are bringing the people in Israel into war. Most people in Israel don't want a war. Most people in the United States do not want war. Most people in the world do not want war. It is a group of those in Israel who call themselves the Jews but are not.
Yeah.
But are taking up the religion. They are not Jews. And the people say, well, you're talking that you're anti-Semitic. No, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Zionazi. And there's a difference. I don't want our soldiers to be in Saudi Arabia. I don't want people to go over and fight and die for the heroin traffic that is coming out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And I don't want some loony who's sitting over there in Parliament telling me that it's a necessity for the motherland.
Yeah.
Well,
God, Queen, and whatever the hell else.
It
doesn't make any sense.
Speaking of the UK, Anthony, we interviewed an author a couple of weeks ago called Gerald Williams, and he's written a book called Grey Wolf: The Escape of Adolf Hitler. And in the book, what he maintains is he's been a journalist for about 30 years. He works on Sky News. He says he has evidence that Hitler and a group of high-ranking Nazis escaped to Argentina. And with them, they brought enormous...
No. They're still alive and well in Washington, D.C. and London. What are you talking about?
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. With all the wealth, they bought into the corporate world from South America. Would you agree with that, Anthony?
Well, I knew about I forget what, it was U number, whatever it was, one of the U-boats that landed over there
108 or something
in advance with a lot of the personal foods and things that Hitler liked.
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't a surprise. And I personally met Max von Wuppermann. He was a scientist working on the U-2s, and when I saw him, he was put together with spit glue and hairpins. He had been hit by so much for so long.
God.
My conversation with him recalls that very day when I talked to him. This is years and years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
But the war is going on. Adolf Hitler was financed out of the United States of America through Brown Brothers Harriman. One of the major contributors to Adolf was a fellow named, let's see, Bush was his last name. I think it was Senator Prescott Bush.
Prescott Bush, Grandfather Bush.
Yes, he was one of the people who was involved. Grandfather Bush was involved with the thing called the Skull and Bones. He laid nude in the coffin.
That's right.
Was born again into the Satanic Order. He laid nude, and they would jack off and be surrounded by 15 guys from the Brotherhood of Death wearing black robes.
That's right.
I think I've seen that film.
I guess they would get the robes rather messy.
It's it's from Yale, isn't it? The Order of Skull and Bones, and the Prescott Bush and George Bush Sr. and George Bush Jr.
Or was it Harvard? I can't remember.
Yeah. We're all members.
Yes, George Herbert Walker Bush. Now he is a real case. He was called Magog.
Yeah.
Magog, in the Skull and Bones terms and in the Bible, is referred to the man who wages war against God in the final days of earth.
That's correct, yeah.
Wow.
That was his name.
And I think
I think that George Herbert Walker Bush was and is a Zionazi, yes. It has nothing to do with being Jewish. It's not Jewish.
And speaking of fraternity,
it's a Zionazi.
Yeah, speaking of fraternities and weird rituals, we were just chatting about this. We were chatting about the Bohemian Grove.
Believe it or not,
your neck of the woods.
You will believe it. I literally have in my hand. It may not be the first, but it's the first copy that I have of a tape. And it's for all of you who would like to get it.
Yeah.
Called Illuminati. Illuminati, Bilderberg West, Bohemian Grove, birthplace of the bomb.
That's right, the Manhattan.
And we have a picture on the cover, pictured work by a fellow named Dees.
Is that one of your own? Is that one of your own films there?
This is a new one. It's the very first one that came out. I got it last night.
Right.
Bilderberg West, Bohemian Grove, Illuminati. And we have the picture of the bomb, and inside the bomb is the owl. And all of the Grove people, the Illuminati, are sacrificing the children in front of the owl of Moloch.
Yep.
This is a place for those who don't know what we're talking about. This is a place in the world where the elite meet and take apart not only the United States and Great Britain, but the world.
Yeah.
And then they divvy it up for various people. This is where the atomic bomb, was created. It's where some people got together and said, let's make a bomb. This is a great idea. If we drop this bomb, well, first of all, we have to have a war, but let's have the conclusion of the war when we drop this bomb, and it'll be so horrifying, everybody will say, well, we've got to do away with war.
Yeah.
We must create a global government. You can't have a global government unless you have the fear of war. And it is a fear that causes people to surrender their sovereignty, as England has done. England is not free.
I think people are going to want to ask the question: Who is in charge of England? Then Or maybe, is it a greater region? Is it Europe? Or
it sure as hell isn't the English, I'm going to tell you that.
Do we know who is?
You know, if you guys walk around, walk into any pub on the island and talk to people, you're not going to find the people in charge.
No.
You're going to find the people who obey, but you're not going to find the people who are in charge. I've got a television show which comes on and off, and it's supposed to be on a regular basis, but it isn't. It's on Sky.
I've seen your
Sky Network.
Yeah. You give it a plug, because we do have quite a few listeners in England.
Well, we have Paradigm Shift.
I know a few people there. Yeah.
And it's supposed to come out on a regular basis. Last night, you were supposed to watch. Let's see. It was a thing called. No, it wasn't on the Grove. Yes, it was on the death dumps. You know about the death dumps, don't you? You're looking at somebody else around the room, and you're saying, what the hell is this guy talking about?
That's exactly what I was doing. That's quite uncanny.
Particulates that are dropped upon you. It's like taking vats full of poison, nanoparticulates containing sulfur hexafluoride, strontium, barium, aluminum oxides, arsenic. It's like taking a toilet on an airplane and flushing it on you. And you pay for the bill. You have to pay the bill.
And you're talking about chemtrails now.
They're flushing it on you.
Yeah.
And it's killing you. Over Los Angeles yesterday, I was up seeing a friend of mine. I was buying a Honeywell filter, HEPA filter. And it swirls the air around the room, and it sucks up the
impurities,
the larger particulates, and some of the smaller ones as well. And I've been watching these things, and he's been watching it from his position. He's in the Malibu area. I'm south, toward the into Los Angeles proper, and we go along the coast in Santa Monica, and you see the death dumps. You see them coming down, that are dropping down, that are killing the people. You say, well, Anthony, this is murder. Yes, it's murder in the first degree. What should happen to these people? The people are doing this in England as well. I've got a friend of mine who's with the Free World Alliance team who made arrangements for this show.
Yeah.
We're talking about Bill. And he's got a camera, and he's got the thing, and it's all set up. We want to be recording individuals like Brian Garish.
Who we know well,
And Brian is a great guy. And in fact, I did a thing with him in Bournemouth. He came down from Plymouth, I guess, to Bournemouth, and we sat in this glass house on the backside of his beautiful home. And
we both watched that, actually.
Yeah, I just decided to do it, I said, what the hell, we shouldn't be just sitting here talking, let's record it.
Yeah.
So I actually filmed that.
Yeah, it was great.
I was filming it and be acting as the interviewer.
Yeah.
But listening to you, Anthony, I'm just... your career goes back so far. You were talking about this long before David Icke or Alex Jones or anybody like that. I mean, when and how did you get into this field of research?
Well, those guys came along after me, they did. Jones was a kid. Now I'm taking a look on the coffee table. And when I came in, my lady friend had this document. I'm trying to lift it. I can barely lift it up. If I'm sitting in the wrong position with one hand. It is a lawsuit which is going to be conducted against me.
Okay.
And I'm looking at three people on here David Icke,
Yeah.
Dr. Bill Deagle,
Mm-hmm.
Alex Jones, and Anthony J. Hilder. This is a lawsuit not only conducted against us, but it's done by Dr. Let's see. Well, it's Sherry Kane, Sherry Kane.
Ah, yeah.
And Dr. Horowitz.
Ah, yeah, I know Lenny a little bit.
Lenny.
I've spoken to him once or twice in the distant past.
Well, anyhow, this is an interesting suit. It's from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I think it has something to do with the Zionazi screaming or yelling or whining about, I guess, their ox being gored or something the hell was happening. But I really got the lawsuit here. And the number 12106709, so what the item, this goes on and on. But literally, this is going to take, it would take me a better part of a month to read it.
So what? Are you allowed to talk about it? What's the nature of it?
Well, I'm going to talk about it. I don't know that I'm allowed to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about it.
Fill your boots.
So I haven't read it, so I can't discuss it any further than that.
Right. I assume you have a clue what it's about. Somebody's got a bee in their bonnet about something.
No, there's a bee in the bonnet. It's Looney Tooney. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that there would be another name, Ted Gunderson.
I have seen his name on a lot of your
long
films.
and very close time, a long-time friend, Ted Gunderson.
We see that.
He's former head of the FBI in Los Angeles and Dallas and Memphis.
Wow.
And we did a lot of things in his latter years and put them on film, some of which is on Paradigm Shift television.
Yeah.
And I would like, in fact, no, I shouldn't say like, I would love to go up on another television channel over there. I did a thing with Theo Chalmers.
Oh, yeah, on the Edge.
On the Edge.
Yeah.
And I would like to have a regular show.
Yeah.
On the Edge. I'll just come out and say I would love to do that because I think Theo sits down and delves into things in a way that would probably be different from the way I would handle it. My cameraman, when I mentioned talking about going to Salisbury Cathedral, and going in and seeing where the body was buried.
Which body?
There's lots of bodies buried over there. Salisbury Cathedral.
Whose body?
It's not far from. I told the priest, I said, his body is buried. It's not 65 yards away.
Whose body is this?
Sir Edward Heath.
Oh, Ted Heath, the famous Ted Heath.
You know, I said, let us do this. Here's my suggestion. The body's buried about 65 yards from the Magna Carta. Now, the Magna Carta gave the British people some semblance of the Constitution.
It's as close as it ever got.
And that had given the British people freedom and sovereignty. And Heath comes along and says, well, listen, I've got this thing I want to do for the British people. I want to give them what Hitler gave to the Germans. A European Union. And I talked about this alliance that being set up in Europe of nations, and they would all surrender to what Hitler created. So the conversation that I had with Brian Garish was EU Hitler's dream come true. And I did one in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And then I went up and did another one up, just a conversation after I had done a speech in St. Anne's, Blackpool.
Right.
With that group up there. Then I decided, well, I'm going to do another one in London at the Friends Auditorium.
Oh, yeah.
Nice place. I really enjoyed doing that. And these people are telling me, just don't say this. Don't say this, Anthony. Do not talk about exhuming the body of Sir Edward Heath.
Yes.
And then bringing it over to London and grinding it up and flushing it down the sewer, system. You might pollute the sewer system. It's filthy enough as it is without flushing this son of a bitch down. And
I suppose people listening to this are going to be asking the question, specifically, what is it that you've got against Edward Heath? Because
I can think of a few things.
Yeah, but most people don't know. We have to deal with the facts that most people don't know.
I didn't have anything against Sir Edward Heath, but Sir Edward Heath had something against a lot of young boys who was in the college over there near Salisbury.
Mm-hmm.
I saw his house where they honor this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I simply want to exhume his body as I want to exhume the bodies of the children that have been killed around Montenegro. This is Northern California, next to the Russian River, where they have this ritual every year. I'm going to be there again. I'm going to be there with Alex Jones, as a matter of fact.
All right.
Oh, really, yeah? You're going to have a bash at getting in?
Oh, sure. We're going to, Russia TV, Russia Today.
Russia Today, great channel.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful program. Christine came out and we talked, and I was talking about the bodies that are being buried, that are not buried, but just burnt. And she said, "Oh, well, they don't do that now. That's just a ritual thing."
Yeah.
I said, and I'm trying to get something across to her. What do you mean a ritual thing? They don't do that anymore. That's just a ritual.
Yeah.
They just they just burn these children. You hear the children scream.
Still.
And the horror of it, these old men in robes performing experiments. You can imagine it when if it wasn't real, it was at one time real.
Yeah.
Are they doing it still today?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Calling that something that makes sense. These are goddamn maniacs.
I think that much everybody knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in. I've been up there west of London in a cave, the Hellspire Cave.
Oh yeah.
And if you haven't been there, you should go there. I went down to the river Styx. There's a river they call Styx at the bottom of this cave. And we had a fellow named Benjamin Franklin, who was part of the Hellspire Club. They would go down there and they would perform sexual experiments with young boys and girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And insofar as the cave is concerned, I don't hold it with a great deal of respect. And I don't hold the members of Parliament that have gone down and performed whatever sexual activities they performed with the unwilling. And we have an England which deserves to be free. I shouldn't say deserves. You guys haven't really earned that yet. But you're accepting the unacceptable. You're tolerating the intolerable. You're just going along with the unacceptable.
People have been
in wars.
People have been persuaded to think a certain way, haven't they?
People are brainwashed, Anthony, and that's the problem.
You know, my grandparents were... My grandmother was a silent movie star. She was born near Blackpool, I believe.
All right.
Oh.
Like Charlie Chaplin. He was originally from England as well.
Well, I think Blackpool is in England.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Checked. And, you know, I love to look at the tower, I guess the second Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And I love the charm of England. But I don't love and cannot accept the tolerance. I'm talking about the tolerance of those things which should not be acceptable. You learn to accept the unacceptable. You learn to tolerate the intolerable.
What things are they tolerating? I imagine people in other countries are going to be wondering what you're talking about.
Well, let's talk about the cameras.
Yeah, lots of cameras.
Let's talk about the lack of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I came to London and spoke before the group that was basically built around those individuals wanting to find freedom, wanting to have a new constitution.
Yeah.
Wanting to say that which has not been said.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, some of my cameraman, for one, said, "Well, those things you shouldn't talk about."
Really?
Yeah, and they said, "Well, where are you going to start?"
Yeah.
And I had 5 cameras.
Yeah.
So you want to start at the back of the room.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, no, you got to be up in the front near the stage, right?" I said, "No, I don't." He said, "Oh, yes, you do." No, I said, "No, I don't. I'm starting at the back of the room. I'm gonna walk and talk."
Yeah, I think I've seen clips of that.
I've seen it. Yeah,
I've seen clips of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you were kind of like an evangelist, Anthony, the one we saw.
Well, I spoke there, and I spoke before the Genesis Radio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was down with a group of people in the blackest section of town, and I'm not talking because of the color, but because of the reputation that preceded me with another guy named Jack the Ripper.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how in the hell could Jack have gotten away with all that stuff if he wasn't related somehow to royalty?
Yeah, what is
the royalty
That's right.
done for the British people? My God, it's you take a look at the British East India Company.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, they were dealing in heroin, weren't they?
I think so, yeah. Were they the ones doing the tea running and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, that's just another kind of tea. It's opium.
It's all leaves.
It's opium.
You know.
And opium was very big in Victorian London.
Let us take all of those monies that were stolen from the people.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take all of those people who died taking that stuff which they sold. Let's take all of their money, all of it, every nickel of it, every dime of it. You say their money. They've sort of adopted the money, but they've adopted a policy which is criminal and continues to this day. And there are wars being conducted by England and by the United States against people in the Mideast. in Syria. There is a war going on against Syria, not by the rebels in Syria, but funded by the British people.
You started off with that.
Funded by the American people.
You started by saying that, actually, and most people are probably thinking to themselves, what war in Syria? What war is raging in Syria? Who's fighting who, and who's involved?
Well, it's who funds the war.
Right.
Who puts up the money? The money is stolen from the British people and the American people, and it buys arms, which finances the war that is being conducted against the Arab people, against the Semitic people. The war that is being conducted in the Mideast is an anti-Semitic war.
And who's doing that?
It's run by the Zionazis.
And what's their intention? Why are they picking on that particular area or group?
Well, they're not predicting. They want to get the whole world. It's ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer.
It's just somewhere to start. Is that what you're saying? They're just starting there because it's an easy place to start.
The film that was supposed to come out yesterday.
Yeah.
On the network, on Paradigm Shift TV.
Yeah.
And you should be calling for it.
What's the name of it?
Air Auschwitz. Air Auschwitz.
Oh yes, I see that on your website. Yeah.
These are chemtrails.
I don't know why. I see it on the website because they announce it and they don't show it.
Yeah, I think you'll find that the scheduling on that channel is a little bit awkward. I've seen other things. I've been on one of those channels myself a while ago, and the scheduling is a little inconsistent. I don't think that's down to the PSTV people. I think it's the channel. It's an unusual channel, and their schedules are not that fixed.
I mean, it's like amateur hour. I would expect more efficient people.
Yeah.
To be working who just graduated from grade school.
Yeah.
That's grammar school over here. I mean, what in the hell are they doing?
I don't know.
I think the theory I'm working on is the channel that they are on some occasions. One of the channels is a dedicated channel to alternative views. The other one is an open for all channel, and I think you can actually pay to have your stuff aired on there, but I know that some people don't because their stuff brings in the numbers for advertisers. And I think that if somebody comes along who wants to pay, I suspect, but I haven't got any proof, that maybe you get bumped in favor of somebody else, maybe.
Let's take Rupert Murdoch. He's a good, upstanding British man.
Please do take him.
Yeah,
take him.
Take him, Anthony. Take him with you.
Dump him in Bohemian Grove. We don't need him.
Well, there's an open sacrifice waiting for this guy.
We could dress him up in a little sailor boy suit and send him right over.
Yeah, there's a spot there. and when I'm talking about exhuming the bodies.
Ted Heath.
How many children have they sacrificed? And in talking to Christine over there at Russia Today, but that's just ritualistic. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Well, I hear the screams. Maybe they were just recorded. Maybe they just killed people at another time and they screamed and they were just running the recording of it. So it's like they got the loop.
Just to clarify, are you saying that you've heard actual screams at Bohemian Grove in person?
No, I've heard what Alex Jones has recorded.
Yeah, well, I've seen the recording, yeah. I saw the recording there, yeah.
And so I don't believe it was live at that time. I used to manage Art Linkletter's son and Bob Linkletter, and Bob would talk to me about some of the things that would happen, and some of the people would come into his place over off of Wilshire Boulevard. And I'm thinking, why do these people with millions and millions of dollars And Bob was going to manage one of the ranches. You were talking about it being 2.5 million acres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's big.
Something like that. It was some outrageous thing. It was 1,000 square miles.
Wow, that's a small country in Europe.
Well, that isn't two of them. It's like one of them. He had two of them that are 1,000 square miles each.
And why do you need so much space? Are they mountain biking, or are they doing something that they don't want people to see?
I don't know, but Bob was put in charge of one small ranch, and I think it was probably a few thousand acres. But he'd got 1,100,000 acres in Nevada. Of course, Area 51 is about the size of England.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a big space.
The entirety of England. And I'm thinking of all of these things that have to be done. We need to incite a revolution. I want to come to England.
Yeah.
I just haven't had the money to go over. And I would like to be speaking to, we've got potentially about 15 different venues.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, I would go from, in the south, in Cornwall.
Cornwall.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Liverpool and Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And some people given me the invitation to go up in the north east.
Yeah.
And in various spots, and of course, I'm one of these guys who would like to see Cornwall become independent.
There's a lot of history with that, yeah. I've heard of that before, actually. There is actually there's a language, actually, as well for Cornwall.
I know. So why shouldn't it be independent?
Well, you know who owns Cornwall, don't you?
No, who owns Cornwall?
Do you know who owns Cornwall, Anthony?
Of course, without knowing.
No.
Who
you're gonna like.
but can be
you're
owned.
gonna like this. You're gonna like this, Anthony. This is gonna light you up for the day. Cornwall is
Arthur. What is his name? King Arthur.
not far off.
The Romans.
You're on the right line. Cornwall is wholly owned, and everybody who lives there is on a leasehold because they can't hold the land. Cornwall is wholly owned by the Prince of Wales, Charles.
Really?
Yep, the whole county. He is the Duchy of Cornwall. It's one of the few counties in the UK that's actually still owned in its entirety by the royal family. They own little patches here and there these days, but he actually owns the whole of Cornwall, and it's a pretty bloody big space.
Well, I was down in one section with again the cameraman, and I said, "Let's go over and see Lord Rothschild."
Why not?
He said, "Hilder, you're nuts.
Drop in for tea."
You can't go over Lord Rothschild. I said, "Why not?"
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
I said, "I'm an American. They don't know that I can't do this. I'm going to go over and talk to the Lord Rothschild. I'm sure he'd, enjoy sitting down and talking to me over a cup of tea."
How did that work out?
I said, "When do you think would be the time?" I said, I come from the United States, so maybe we'd pick a convenient time, maybe about 3:30.
Yeah.
He said, "In the afternoon?" He said, "Hell no, in the morning." We were going down to the Rothschild estates. It is placed next to the owner of, the Hong Kong, anyhow.
Not the HSBC, is it?
There's this glass pyramid I'm looking at through the trees.
Okay.
Right.
And I said, "My God, what the hell is that?" He says, "Well, it's the Rothschild pyramid."
It's not the Eden Project,
"No
is it?
kidding."
Oh, they're domes, aren't they? There's a thing called the Eden Project in the southwest of England, but I think they have domes rather than pyramids. I'm not sure.
No, this is a pyramid, my friend. It is. If you go to our website, OurEngland.com, or you go to commoncrime.net, you're going to see pyramid. And I said, well, let's go out there. He says, you can't do that. I said, why not? I don't see any guards.
Yeah.
So we went over the fence or around the fence, and we're walking out there. There's a lot of sheep and a lot of sheep dung all over, so you've got to watch your step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they do have some magic mushrooms for
nice
fellas to, pick and. I'm going out there, and there's a wire, and I said, "What is the wire there for?" He says, "Well, that's an electric fence."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "You can probably just step over it. It's probably not, I said, "Wait a minute. I'm going to go to see Beast and Crystal in the morning with Ian Crane."
Yeah.
And a congresswoman, and I've got a lot of things that I'd like to say. I don't want to be in jail.
Yeah.
So, and I'm expecting any time that a half track is going to be coming over the hill, with preceded by 15 Dobermans or Rothschild. What are those?
Rottweilers.
I mean, Rottweilers. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, with that ugly attitudes.
They're not pretty.
Coming over, and I said, we've got about 85% of it. I got it on tape. We just put it out on, it came out.
Yeah.
On our channel. I don't know whether it's been on, I have no idea.
Well, Anthony,
whether it's actually been up and on Paradigm Shift.
Yeah, you've been investigating for a very long time. When did you start this, and what got you into this field? Because you must be in your late 50s now, are you?
Yeah. And I was talking to Myron Fagan. Of course, somebody told me, he says, "You don't know what the hell's going on, Hilder."
Yeah.
We have a one-party. I was saying we had a one-party system.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about that, and they said, "Well, yeah, that may be true, but you don't know." And Myron Fagan knows about this, and you should be talking to Myron Fagan. He was responsible for the first investigation of the House Committee on American Activities, which led to the Hollywood 10.
Okay.
And this is talking about communism, but at that particular time, so many of us who were investigators started taking a look at UNism and thinking that that was the problem. No, it wasn't the problem. Communism is not the problem. It's the creation of the problem.
Okay.
Communism was not put together by poor men trying to overthrow a totalitarian regime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was put together by very rich men.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to knock out communism hasn't been run out of Moscow, Beijing, or Hanoi. It's always been run out of New York, London, and Washington, D.C.
Yeah, systems of control, all of them.
And it's the activities within the city that will straighten your hair or curl it, or when you find out about the Grove.
Yeah.
My God. You also have to take a look at the Hell's Fire Club. And I believe there was a film, Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about it the other day, Anthony. It's extraordinary. We were likening Eyes Wide Shut to Bohemian Grove.
Well, yes. Those guys, walk around nude out there in the
redwoods.
In the redwoods. And, they're boning a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's a gay thing, isn't it?
They like to bone some of the boys over there in San Francisco. just like Sir Edward Heath would like to bone some of the young kids who'd come over there to play around the school.
And I think
the
yeah.
Talking to the priest, I said, yes. He said, "Oh, the Magna Carta is just right down the way here." I said, "That's right."
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important that we do something that is significant, like unearthing that body, literally grinding it up and flushing it into the sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
I watched one picture, The Third Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Orson Welles' Lime, and he was up on the eye.
I was watching.
This is in Berlin, but the eye of England goes around and around and around. It's a Ferris wheel. It's around and around and around. She goes, and where she stops, only God knows, or only the house knows.
Mm.
The eye is significant. It really means the Illuminati eye.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think the eye of England is the eye of the Illuminati.
Do you think that?
Symbolically.
Do you think that? And I've often wondered about this. Do you think that America ever got independence? Do you think that the Queen of England or England itself or something in England is still potentially in charge in some way? Because I get that impression sometimes. The tail seems to be wagging the dog.
Well, the tail is wagging the dog, and the United States is not independent.
Hmm.
It's anything but independent.
Who's in charge?
Who own that money, who create the currency, control the commerce.
Yeah.
And if you go into the bank, to the Bank of England on Threadneedle Street, and then you go down to the corner to the Royal Exchange,
Yeah.
and you take a look up there at the statue of Wellington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Been there.
The information that Wellington had lost. Oh, well, wait a minute. No, that's not how it was. Was it really? Wellington lost and Napoleon won? I'm sorry. I'm a bit late.
Yeah.
That was the information that the Rothschilds gave to the rest of the people, so that the stock market crashed, and when the stock market crashed, they valiantly came in to save the British pound.
I think
Wait a minute. That's what we were told, right? But they went out and they nobly saved the British stock market. They saved everything. They came to the rescue. Of course, they did wind up owning the Bank of England.
Yeah.
But then, how do these stories get out there? Because you guys are told these stories in school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you believe this crap, but you can only step in that crap so long. You know, it smells. It stinks. And you take a look at the little pyramid right out there at the front of the Royal Exchange, and you take a look at the symbols. You say, wait a minute, do we have dragons in England? You know, and what is this? What is this taking off all of our clothes and going down nude into the bottom of these caves with these young children?
It's a political
What's
thing.
this river Styx all about?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the river from hell.
That's right. That's something we need to know. We're running out of time here.
We'll probably have to get you back on to go back down that river, so to speak, further on.
We didn't have enough time. We only just hit the tip of the iceberg with you.
Oh, completely.
Well, I enjoy doing the show, especially with a guy named Basil.
Thanks so much.
Well, it's been brilliant having you on, Anthony. We've really run out of time now, so
okay.
We'll let you have the last word.
Let us incite a revelation. But people cannot survive and have your currency controlled by the Rothschilds, and that's the way it is. It must come to an end.
Well, we certainly look forward to that.
As they say in Mexico, for both of you guys, vaya con Dios. Go with God.
Thank you for getting up so early for us, Anthony. We know it's been early for you.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
I look forward to coming back.
See you later.
Thank you.
The Out There Hour
with Basil and Mark. You can contact us via
Facebook.com/Out There Hour
or YouTube.com/AFRadioYT
or email us on
helpdesk@alternativefutureradio.com.
Skype us on AFRguest.
AlternativeFutureRadio.com.
The Out There Hour on Alternative Future Radio. The Out There Hour with Basil and Mark.
www.alternativefutureradio.com. Yay! Yeah.
Enormous wealth that they had stolen.
Yeah.
And it seems to be they may have bought into the corporate world.
Yeah, they moved into finance.
Finance and multinational...
And politics as well, to some degree.
And politics as well. Yeah. And this is something that Anthony J. Hilder has been talking about for quite a long time.
A very long time.
And his research leads him to believe that the formation of the European Union may actually be based on the Nazi ideals.
Yeah, something that I know Jared Williams has touched on before on other interviews, but we didn't get round to that because we lost him that day.
Yeah, we're going to get Jared back because we
should do.
Yeah, but so we're just tying up a few loose ends here on who really controls the world.
And what's going on.
And why is the world the way it is.
Yes. Shall we dial him?
Yeah. Let's hope they don't take us out for our research.
Well, if they do, they'll probably just wine us and dine us and then just not call us in the morning. Anyway, right, okay.
Is it okay to call him because he was just having his power drink and we just want to give him... Because we have to understand he's in New York?
He's in LA.
Oh, he's in LA.
It's just after 7 a.m. there for him, so he's kindly got up very early in the morning.
He's got up really... He said,
what a guy.
He said he never... What did he say? He never gets up...
Before noon. Yeah, well, we're going to call him and we'll hopefully we'll see what he's got to say for himself.
Let's hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Out There Hour.
The Out There Hour on Alternative Future Radio. The Out There Hour with Basil and Mark.
www.alternativefutureradio.com. Yay! Hello, Basil.
Hello, Mark.
Well, it's an auspicious occasion today.
Well, we've reeled in a big one.
We have Anthony J. Hilder on the show in just a little while.
Anthony J. Hilder.
Yes, you know him. To know him is to love him.
Researcher into the term, for want of a better word, New World Order.
And among other things.
Since the late 50s, early 60s.
Was it as early as that?
This guy was looking into the global elites when David Icke was still a footballer and Alex Jones hadn't even been born.
He must know a bit of something about something by now, then.
He sure does.
You would imagine he would.
He's a prolific filmmaker. He's
made loads of films. I'm looking at his website right now. There's just loads of them, although he's had a while to make them.
He's done Skull and Bones.
He's done stuff about the Oklahoma City bombing, which is another interesting topic. We should go for that one.
I see he's got something about Henry Kissinger there. Very interesting.
Area 51. Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. You know what Skull and Bones is?
Yeah, I do.
Does everybody else know what it is?
You tell them.
Skull and Bones. It's some kind of a weird college fraternity.
Yeah.
In America, and George Bush and John Kerry one time.
Is it Yale?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's Yale.
And they do these, the
usual ceremonies.
It's strange stuff. I've never understood it.
Yeah.
And they're doing some very strange ceremonies, that particular fraternity.
He's got some films here. The Panic Project. That looks like Kissinger and UFOs. Area 51. Reichstag 95, which I think is about the original World Trade Center bombing, looking at that. Or is that the Oklahoma bombing? I can't tell from the picture of it. Something there about the American Hitler versus Anthony Hilder. That looks interesting.
That looks really good.
Chinese answer to cancer.
Oh, yeah, well, we've kind of covered that.
Have we? Blimey.
Dr. Gerson.
Oh, yes.
They're in
yes,
Europe.
yeah,
He has a cure for cancer.
Yeah, and that's not even to mention the books. I think that's just the DVDs. I'm sure he's written a good few books as well.
Anthony J. Hilder, he's been researching the mysteries.
All sorts of things.
For a long time. And we're hoping to tie up today with something that's been on our minds.
Yes, something Gerard Williams alluded to last week.
Yeah, and just on the end of the hour there, when we spoke to the author of The Grey Wolf, Gerard Williams, and his research that leads him to believe that Hitler escaped to Argentina, along with many, many high-ranking Nazi officers with enormous wealth.
Rule Israel. In the Bible, it talks about beware of those who call themselves Jews but are not. These are not Jews. These are anti-Semitic. They are against Semites. They are against Christians. They are against Muslims. They want to own the world. And they use certain groups of people, like I think there's a group over there in England called Britons, British people, that would be it, yes. They rule Britain by ruling the currency.
Yeah.
They control what happens. They control the commerce, and they control the creation of currency.
Yeah.
Whenever that is allowed, it always results in ruin.
So when you say Zionazi, are you taking the term, I'm assuming it's half Zionist and half Nazi, are you using the term Zionist not quite literally, but sort of more figuratively?
Well, it's both, really. We're talking about people who really are bringing the people in Israel into war. Most people in Israel don't want a war. Most people in the United States do not want war. Most people in the world do not want war. It is a group of those in...
He's woken up.
Yeah.
Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you, Mr. Hilder.
I should explain what I'm wearing, because it's always...
Please do, but keep it clean.
Well, yeah, it's I've got, because we're talking across the world, and I've got a sweater which was made in Syria. It's the type that Bill Cosby wore on his shows, with multicolored.
Oh yes, we're familiar with it.
Wonderful, wonderful sweater from Syria, and I'm concerned about the war being conducted against Syria by the United States and Great Britain, because it's not a war about Syrians. It's really a war about bringing a new world order. And ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Führer, one world, one race, one ruler. And of course, the Zionazis are very much involved in that particular war.
Can you explain that term? Because people are going to say, "What's a Zio-Nazi?" That sounds unusual.
Well, a Zionazi is essentially the same group or mindset that ruled Nazi Germany at one time.
Yeah.
The Zionazis are the same mindset of individuals who